They say you should never judge a book by its cover. But that afternoon, on a busy city sidewalk, two police officers thought they'd already figured out the man in the gray hoodie. To them, he was just another suspicious figure, someone worth stopping, questioning, maybe even searching. What they didn't know was that the man they were about to detain could end their careers with a single sentence. It started like any ordinary day. Marcus Reed, mid-30s, walking back to his car with a coffee in hand. The sun was warm, traffic slow, people weaving in and out of storefronts. He wasn't in a rush, just letting the city move around him. Then, from the corner of his eye, he noticed a police cruiser slowing beside him. At first, it felt like nothing. Cars slow down all the time in the city. But this time, it didn't pass. It stayed alongside him. A sharp, commanding voice cut through the street noise. "Hey, you! Stop right there!" Marcus stopped. Slowly, he turned toward the sound. Two uniformed officers stepped out of the cruiser. They walked toward him with purpose, eyes narrowed. This wasn't a casual conversation. This was suspicion, wrapped in authority. "We need to talk to you," the older one said. "Got some ID?" Marcus tilted his head slightly. Sure. But can I ask what this is about?" "You're matching the description of someone we're looking for." Marcus didn't flinch. He'd been around long enough to know how quickly matching the description could spiral into something far worse. "All right," he said evenly. "I'll get my wallet." As he reached for it, the younger officer took a step closer, eyes scanning him from head to toe. "Where were you just now?" "I came from the coffee shop across the street," Marcus replied. "Why?" "You were seen pacing around, looking into shop windows. People said you were acting suspicious." Marcus let out a short breath, half disbelief, half frustration. "Suspicious? I was waiting for my coffee and checking messages on my phone." The younger officer didn't look convinced. "Mind if we search you?" Now, the air felt heavier. People on the sidewalk began slowing down, glancing over, pretending not to stare. The moment was turning into a spectacle. Marcus stayed calm. "I understand you have a job to do, but before you go any further, I think you should see something." He reached into his wallet, careful and deliberate, and pulled out a small leather badge holder. The sunlight caught the gold emblem inside, sending a glint of light into the air. It was an official law enforcement badge. Both officers froze. The shift in their faces was immediate, authority melting into shock. "I'm Detective Marcus Reed," he said, his voice steady. "Undercover Division. Badge number 4728. You can run it if you'd like." The younger officer stepped back. The older one's mouth opened, but no words came out. Detective, we didn't know." Marcus's gaze stayed locked on them. "Yeah," he said quietly. "That's the problem." He didn't raise his voice, didn't threaten them. But the weight of his words landed heavy. "You stopped me because someone said I looked suspicious. You didn't see me committing a crime. You didn't have any concrete description, just a feeling." One officer shifted uncomfortably. "We were just following up on a call, sir." "I respect that," Marcus replied. "But how often does that call turn into a stop based on appearance? On clothing? On skin color?" The question hung in the air. The traffic noise in the background seemed louder now. "Do you know how many people don't have a badge to protect them in situations like this?" The younger officer lowered his gaze. "You're right. I guess we could have handled it differently." "You can do your job," Marcus said, "and still treat people with dignity. Ask better questions before you jump to conclusions. One day, the person you stop might be carrying groceries or just waiting for their coffee. They apologized. Marcus nodded, accepting, but in his mind, this moment was bigger than the three of them. As he walked away, he thought about all the people who wouldn't have been able to end that encounter so easily. He thought about how fragile trust was between communities and police, how quickly it could shatter. The lesson was simple. It's not about who wears a badge. It's about how you treat the people who don't. We never know someone's story just by looking at them. A hoodie doesn't make a criminal. A glance through a window doesn't make someone guilty. Every person we pass carries their own battles, their own truths, their own reasons for being where they are. Marcus Reed's story isn't just about two officers getting it wrong. It's about the reminder we all need. See people as human first, ask before assuming. And remember, respect costs nothing, but means everything.